Now, Michael Burry, the contrarian investor made famous by the Big Short, is warning that world is underestimating the size of the AI bubble and the severity of the correction that could follow. In a conversation with author Michael Lewis, Burry said companies like Palantir and Nvidia sit at the center of an investment mania that is bigger, faster, and more fragile than the tech boom that collapsed in the early 2000s. He lays out two core reasons. First, he says today's AI frenzy is powered by a runaway capital expenditure cycle, one that mirrors the fiber optic and telecom build out of the late 1990s, but at an even higher velocity. According to Burry, markets are now rewarding companies simply for announcing AI spending. In his words, and I quote, "If you announce $1 of AI capex, your market cap goes up $3, unquote. He calls Nvidia and Palantir the two luckiest companies on the planet. Nvidia, he says, got lucky twice, first with crypto mining and then again with the generative AI. Palantir, he argues, relabeled its consulting heavy software as AI after the rise of ChatGPT, even though its profitability is heavily inflated by stock-based compensation. Burry also points out that Palantir's valuation has reached levels he has never seen before, noting that 5 billionaires emerged from roughly $4 billion in company revenue. Second, he believes the demand side of the AI boom is far weaker than the early internet revolution. He says most users get what they need from free versions of large language models and that very few are willing to pay. As a result, the monetization ceiling for AI may be much lower than the market expects. But Burry's bigger concern is what happens when the bubble bursts. He warns that today's dominance of passive investing, now more than half of all US equity assets, means that there is no deep pool of active capital to absorb selling pressure. I quote him again, "When the market goes down, the whole thing is just going to come down," unquote. He also criticizes the way companies are accounting for AI hardware. Depreciation schedules for GPUs and servers are being stretched, flattering earnings even as the equipment becomes obsolete at unprecedented speed. Burry calls this a modern form of accounting distortion. All of these factors, thin monetization, inflated capex cycles, and distorted earnings, set the stage, he says, for a sharper collapse than the Nortel Cisco crash of 2 decades ago. And he's putting money behind his view. Burry has bought far out of the money 2-year put options on both Nvidia and Palantir. While headlines described it as a $1 billion bet, he says the actual capital deployed was small. The large notional value made it appear bigger than it was. Still, his conviction is clear, and I quote him, "I thought 2 years would be enough," unquote, he says.